Welcome to When Good Things Happen, where our mission is to inspire people to discover and learn about all the things that can really make the golden years the very best of your life and share a few financial ideas to help you make your vision for retirement a reality. Host Tom Gandolfi is your guide on a how-to adventure to help enhance your retirement lifestyle.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in once again to When Good Things Happen. And as you know, a little podcast we've got set up here is something that we're doing to try to give you some ideas on how you can make good things happen during your retirement. And I think today we've got a pretty cool little show lined up. And I think for some of you, this is going to really be in your sweet spot, and it's going to probably be something you're pretty passionate about. And for others, maybe it's something that will set you towards learning about something kind of new and interesting and different that might wind up being a passion for you. So my guest today is Orson Hall, and he is the founder and owner of Wine Parties by Design. And for some of you, when you hear the word wine, you probably get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. A lot of people are passionate about it, and it's a really interesting field. And, it's so much more than a drink, obviously. I mean, wine can be a lifestyle, and there are all kinds of things to learn and discover and explore that are related to wine. So I thought this would be a really good way to maybe share something with the listeners that is really of interest to them, maybe give them some direction on how they can further satisfy their passion for wine moving forward, and also maybe expose some people that haven't had a lot of time to enjoy the good life because they've been working so hard to find something that they can take some interest in retirement. So, Orson, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came in. And, the first thing I'm going to hit you up about is your name. So, Orson's a pretty unique name. Yes, and probably everyone that's listening to this right now is going, well, I only know one Orson, and it's Orson Welles. So tell me about where Orson came from. Is there any kind of backstory there?
There is, Tom. So my mother, when she was pregnant with me, told my aunt, who was more pregnant than she, that she was going to name me Douglas Conrad. And my aunt, when she had her son, named him Douglas Conrad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my
little
parents...
sibling rivalry there?
I think so. So that's really, it in a nutshell.
That's So she went from Douglas Conrad to Orson.
Well, they saw a billboard with Orson
on
it, and they said, oh, that's a good name. Let's use that.
I bet your mom wasn't real happy that her chosen name was stolen.
She wasn't, but my mom was pretty even-tempered. So,
okay,
yeah.
Her sister kind of stepped on her and she got away with it, basically.
Yes, exactly.
All right, good. So thanks for sharing that. So we're going to talk about wine today.
Okay.
And I'm not a wine expert. You are. So having you in here, I think, is really kind of interesting, and I think a lot of people will be anxious to hear about what you do and maybe talk a little bit about your company and talk about just wine in general. So let's start off with Wine Parties by Design. So what do you guys do?
All right, what we do is a number of things. I try to concentrate on California tours, wine tours, because it's a lot of fun. California, I think, and a lot of people will argue with me about this, old world versus new world, Europe versus California. California has the best wines if you are a new world, what we call a new world person. Okay. And new world means it's more fruit forward. That doesn't mean it's fruity or sweet. It just means that it's more of a, it's not minerally necessarily or earthy as they call European wines. But European wines are changing a lot too. So I love California wine tours. They're a lot of fun. I do North Georgia wine tours also, and I usually do day tours on that. I prefer private parties rather than public tours because you never know who you're going to get on the tours.
Right.
When you have private ones, then everybody knows each other, and it works out a lot better.
Kind of fun, yeah.
It is.
I bet the French probably don't agree with you on the perspective of who has the best wine, do they?
No. And, so here's the thing, and this is my motto, is the best wines in the world are the ones that you like.
There you go.
Everybody's palate is different. Everybody's palate is unique. So we try to not tell people that this wine is better than the other. It all depends on your palate. So, and the other thing is, if it tastes good, drink it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's a little bit... It sounds a little bit like what we try to do. And, you know, what we do and what you do are completely different worlds, obviously.
Right.
But what you just said is that there's something that's perfect for everybody.
Yes.
And that's kind of how it works with what we do, too, in the world of finance. You know, we don't do things in a cookie cutter way around here. You know, everyone has different needs and different likes and different wants and different goals. So we do our best to make sure we're satisfying what's good for them rather than just picking some generic blah, blah, blah and making it good for everybody. It doesn't work that way. And wine's very much the same way. It's very personal.
That's correct. And I think you have a good attitude toward working with your customers on that.
Well, that's the way it needs to be.
Yep.
There's no question. So tell me about these tours. So how long do they last?
Usually a California tour lasts 6.5 days
Okay.
in the wine country. In total, it's 8 days, getting out there and getting back. I usually do them from the East Coast. I have very few people that actually take the tour from California. So I get people from Florida, Georgia, New York,
Okay.
that take the tour with me. And the 6.5 days, I plan out everything. So it's one cost. It includes everything on the tour. So the only thing you spend money on is your airfare out there because everybody has a different way of getting out there,
Sure.
paying for the tour. And also anything personal you want to buy, any wine or whatever. Everything else is covered. Dinners, transportation.
Oh, nice. So you coordinate the entire thing. It's sort of a
Exactly.
turnkey operation.
So I ask people to do two things.
Yep.
One is to get out at the airport on time, and the other thing is to get up in the morning on time.
Okay.
After that, everything else is taken care of.
So all you got to do is write a check, get to the airport, and wake up in the morning.
That's correct.
Not a lot of requirements there.
No, none at
Pretty
all.
easy to handle.
And the last one I just did was last month, which is Paso Robles area, which is halfway between LA and San Francisco.
Okay.
They have 300 wineries in
Wow.
that area. California has 4,400 wineries.
Holy cow. I had no idea.
Georgia has 70 plus.
There's that many in Georgia.
Yeah, there is. Mostly in North Georgia.
Right,
But there are
right.
some in southern Georgia.
I had no idea. So we got these 6.5 days in wine country if we're
Right.
going out to California.
Absolutely.
So what are we doing every day? We're waking up in the morning because you said that was one of your requirements.
Right. We go either to, we have either 2 or 3 wineries to go to. And then
Per day?
Yeah, per day.
Okay.
And then we have a day of relief in the middle.
Okay.
And that just means we want your liver to.
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
know,
by the third winery, your people are probably feeling pretty good, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have, by the way, at the end of the tour, I ask everybody to schedule a liver transplant.
Probably a really, really good
exactly.
idea. Yeah.
But
Probably some have to take you up on it.
But the day of relief, usually we'll go to the beach or we'll do something interesting like when we go to Sonoma, we'll go to the beach, we'll go to a cheese company, and they'll explain all about, they'll take us out to the farm, give us a cheese tasting, explain how they do all that. It's very interesting. Then we go up the coast and then we go inland and we go to the redwoods.
Oh, nice.
People on the East Coast love the redwoods. They
Yeah.
really want to see them. It's like a different world when you go in there.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
totally different
really
world.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So like Alice in Wonderland, something like that. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and we usually don't end up not drinking on the day of relief. We usually have dinner with wine.
Okay, well, of course. It
Yeah.
kind of fits the theme, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you go through, and what happens when you get to the wineries? Do you obviously, I'm sure there's plenty of wine tasting going on, but do you learn about how they do things in their operation? Do you learn about the grapes? Do you learn about the processes? What's going on there at the wineries?
Absolutely. We do cave tours sometimes. We usually have tours. We try to do something that's special. We don't just go to the bar, tasting bar, and let people taste. We actually, ahead of time, we'll have appointments, and I try to do something special for the group. Have the winemaker talk to them. Do various things. The cave tour, like I talked about. Have a special place.
What's a cave tour? What is
cave
that?
tour? A lot of times they'll put the wines in a cave. They'll build a cave, and then they'll put all their wine barrels and everything else in there because then it keeps it at a certain temperature.
So they want to ferment it at a certain temperature without exposure to
Exactly.
any light. And
Exactly. Yeah. Sunlight wrecks wine. High temperatures wreck wine. Temperature fluctuations wreck wine.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things, and I could talk about that later on, but there's a lot of things you can do to prevent the wine from going bad.
Okay.
In your car.
Let's
and
hit
your
on that.
house. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll hit on that.
But anyway, the wine tour is a lot of fun. People love them. I had a lot of good reviews on my last one. They said it was special.
That's awesome.
Sometimes we'll have winery dinners. So we go out to the wineries. One of them we went to was called Cass, C-A-S-S. It's a winery, and they have a very famous person named Ted Plemons, who is quite a character.
Okay.
And he was there with dinner for us. We always try to get somebody that is special from the
Some kind of personality? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have wine dinners. Well, we do also dinners with industry people. So this last tour, we have 5 dinners with industry people, either the winemaker, the owners, or somebody that's associated with the winery that's well known.
Gotcha. So, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. How many of these do you do a year? Does it vary? Does it fluctuate based upon how many people are?
Because of COVID, I haven't done too many.
Right,
course,
well, I get that.
But next year, I'd like to do 4.
Okay.
And so what I plan to do is in late spring, do Napa Valley, and then Sonoma. And then in the fall, I'll do Santa Barbara County, which I did in 2019. And then Paso Robles again, right after that.
That's great. So how many people go on your private tours generally?
I'd like to get 9 or 10.
Okay.
11 is stretching it, but I can get 11 in there.
So a pretty small group, pretty intimate group.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get a Sprinter van and out there, and then I drive, so I don't drink because their safety is more important than anything else. Yeah. So. And people say, "How can you do that on the tour?" Because it's a business.
Yeah, absolutely. You're working.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. Everybody really enjoys it.
So do you have to have your own group of 9 or 10, or can you be a couple and just sort of join in and you can build a group? Does that work too?
You can do both.
Okay.
Either one.
Right.
I'll advertise it, and if somebody wants to have a private tour with their friends, I prefer that. So, but
Gotcha.
It's both ways.
You can go both ways. Okay. Yeah, because not everyone has 9 or 10 friends that want to go do a drinking party out in California.
Exactly.
Some do. Okay, good. So let's talk a little bit about the more local tours just for a couple of minutes. You said over 70 wineries in Georgia.
Yes, absolutely.
So obviously those are probably not 7-day tours. They're probably
one day.
Weekenders or one-dayers or whatever else. So how do those work out? You
just a day tour generally.
Okay.
And what I do is I pick them up at their location, location they specify. Not a bunch, just one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it takes too long to do it. I'll do that in the morning, and then we'll usually go up. And a lot of times, one of the options I give them is doing a wine class. And I do one, by the way, at some of the tasting rooms around town. And it's a class that nobody else gives in town. It's about how do you store, how do you transport, how do you prepare each wine style to get the most flavor out of it.
Nice.
So it's something that people don't know about. And a lot of times I'll hear, oh, this is too dry. And there's a reason for that. And you can change that completely by doing certain things, to a flavor that really is good.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about some wine tips here in a second. So I want to hear some of those because I could use them myself.
So what I'll do is I'll usually outsource the transportation because if it's over 9 people, then we need 2 buses, and I'll usually get that.
Yep.
So that just relieves me of trying to do all that stuff,
Sure.
And so what I do is I concentrate on the class and getting people together and making sure that the tour is special for whoever's taking it.
Yeah, so that's just kind of a great little thing to do on a weekend.
Exactly.
Or a weekday. I'm sure you're probably doing both.
Yeah, so and I usually have 2 routes. One route is going up toward LJ, the other one's going toward Dahlonega and Cleveland.
Okay, nice.
They have the best wineries in both areas.
Nice. Okay, that's very, very, very interesting. All right, so let's get into the wine a little bit. So educate us. So give us some tips on what's good now, and give us some tips on how to enhance experiences with wine when we drink.
Well, transportation, when you transport wine, the most important thing is make it one of your last stops because the ambient temperature in your car can go up 40 degrees in 1 hour.
Holy cow.
So if that happens and it gets over 70 degrees, your wine can start going bad. So what you want to do, and this is what I do, I have a cooler in the car all the time. And so if I know I'm going to pick up some perishables, whether it's wine or whatever else, and I have in my refrigerator plastic ice cubes that I freeze.
Okay.
So I just throw the bag in there, and that'll keep everything cool.
What about the other side of the thermometer? Can you get it too cold?
You can if you freeze it, of course. You can wreck it, that way too. But generally, what you want to do is, and a lot of things are happening right now. It's called direct to consumer, where the winery sells directly to the consumer. Let's say somebody orders from the winery versus getting it at a retail shop here.
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to have it shipped in the spring or the fall. Avoid the summer; it gets too hot. Avoid the winter because it gets too cold.
Do the wineries take care to package it in some kind of temperature-controlled something?
It's getting better now.
Okay, I would think so.
Shippers are actually getting better now, but still, you still have to worry about
Shippers are getting better? That's news to me.
Yeah, well, they're trying to. I mean, there's cold storage now. They actually have cold storage, but that's extra money.
Of course.
For shipping it. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to be very careful about that. So once you get it home, you want to store it in a place that there's no sunlight. Okay. Sunlight wrecks wine. And put it in like on your bed, anything where the temperature doesn't really vary. Do you see some of these houses that have the wine racks over the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Worst place
Probably
in the
not
world.
a great place, yeah.
You can't imagine what the temperature is
like.
It
gets hot up there.
I know. And cold and hot. And
but hey,
cold.
It looks good.
Yeah.
We're going for aesthetics.
Right, exactly. So put memorabilia up there. Don't put wines up there.
Right.
So, but anyway, so that's storage. Just store it in a place. Don't mess around with it until you want to drink it,
Okay.
So the other thing that's very critical is wine temperature that you serve it at.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't realize that you want to. There's a rule. It's called the 20-minute rule. The white wines you take out for 20 minutes before you drink it because that kind of brings the flavor out. Red wines, put it in for 20 minutes because you want to serve white wines at around 50 degrees, 40 to 50 degrees. Your refrigerator sub 40. On your red wines, you want to serve them 60 to 65. They talk about room temperature. Mm-hmm. Room temperature is cellar temperature.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, Pinot Noirs, which have very few tannins compared to other wines, you want those at 55 degrees. And you'd be surprised how many restaurants don't serve it at that temperature. It's amazing to me.
Probably one size fits all in a restaurant, oftentimes.
Yeah, even the good restaurants a lot of times. So what you do is, if that happens, you tell them to bring out one of the champagne buckets and stick the bottle in there. And
chill it down a little bit.
Yeah, you need to. So anyway, but red wines over 70 degrees, they start losing their flavor.
Okay, interesting.
So you don't want to serve the wine.
So you want to be with reds, you want to be somewhere between 55 and 70, depending if it's a Pinot Noir or a Cabernet or...
Well, 55 to 65 is really optimal for storage. Mm-hmm. If you have a wine cooler, it's 55. Okay. Don't get the dual storage. You don't need that dual temperatures. You just need one temperature, 55 degrees. That's optimal. Okay. But you can store it 45 to 65.
And the whites, obviously, you serve a little cooler.
Yeah. Well, this is when storage. I'm sorry. I'm getting back to that. Yeah. But whites, much cooler. Yeah.
But you can store them at the same temperature as the reds.
Right.
Okay.
Now, bubbly, pull it out of the refrigerator and serve it. Yeah. That's how you do that. Okay.
Yeah. So, a little different ball game there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but again, temperature brings out the most flavor if you serve it at the right temperature. That's very important. Another thing that I talk about, which nobody seems to know about, is a lot of people get headaches with red wine, just one glass. And the reason for that is called histamines, which is in the skin of the grape, in the seeds, in the stems, and also from the barrel. And so you get the histamines, and people think it's the sulfites. So what you do is you take an antihistamine, say half an hour to an hour beforehand, and you won't get a headache. Really?
Well, that's kind of an interesting little tip.
Unless you drink too much.
Well, yeah. There's always too much of a good thing happening. That can always be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But the headaches are not a thing with the whites.
Not really. I mean, I see it rarely. Yeah. But generally, it's with red wine. I had a lady one time on my wine tour that, as we were going up there, she said, "I can't even drink. I can't even hardly smell it. I have one sip and I get a massive headache." And so I gave her a Zyrtec because I always carry Zyrtec and Claritin with me on the tours. And so I gave her Zyrtec about an hour before, and she drank red wine all afternoon.
All right, so you're an interesting guy, but I got to picture this. So someone who doesn't drink wine and can't even smell it actually went on one of your wine tours. Was she just like a drag-on guest going on for the ride?
With her husband. She was with her husband.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
so, but anyway, she enjoyed the day.
All right, so what's good now? Is there any brand that you have as a favorite? Or a winery that you have as a favorite? Well,
if you as favorites, and there's a lot of good wineries up in North Georgia. So let me talk about North Georgia first.
Okay, sure.
My favorite winery, and it doesn't mean there's other ones not as good, because I don't want to get myself in a situation.
No, I don't want to put you on the spot either, but
it's called Chateau Maitre.
Okay,
and it's up on a place called Talking Rock. You ever heard of that place?
I have, yeah.
And it's a little. One side is a asphalt road going into it. It's about one car wide, and the other side is a gravel road. So going into
Okay,
it.
all right.
So, but anyway, it's a beautiful winery. They have good wines. Customer service is excellent. And it's a beautiful place to go. Just a really nice winery.
Nice. Chateau Maitre.
Yeah. Very, very, very nice. On the other side, there's a number of them called, one of them is Cavender Creek, and they have very good wines. They have a fairly new winemaker, and he's making really good wines, and it's a beautiful place. So they'll let me do my wine class up there.
Okay,
And
nice.
Chateau Maitre, same thing. Yeah,
Nice.
So usually we try to go there first if the customer wants a wine class.
Wine class, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So, and then after that, the other ones that are really good are Yona Mountain Vineyards. I really like that. They could overcharge you, I think, for tasting, and that's my own personal opinion. So I took a group up there in February, and it was an interesting group. They were just ready to party. And it's a good thing because they're all staying at one hotel.
Okay,
So, no driving, no nothing.
Yeah, it's party time. Yeah.
So took them up there, and they were overcharging, I think, for the wine. So I said, let's not do the tasting. And with the money I collected from you, let's buy bottles.
Buy some wine, yeah.
Yeah, we did, and they loved the wine.
Nice.
They were singing and everything else. It was deafening on the way home on the van. But anyway, it's really nice. It's a beautiful winery. The guy spared no expense in building this place.
Nice. Where's that one located?
That's in Cleveland.
Cleveland, okay.
Yeah. Another one that's really small is called Serenity. Serenity is owned by Joe Smith. And Joe is the winemaker for Cavender Creek, for himself, for The Cottage, another winery up there. And he consults with, I think, 9 more wineries.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how he does it. I don't even know.
Busy guy, sounds like.
Getting sleep, yeah. Right. But he used to be the winemaker also for Yona Mountain Vineyards. So those are 3 that I really like. Another one I really like, too, is Kaya, Kaya. And that's kind of in the middle between Dahlonega and Cleveland.
All right.
And it's a beautiful winery. They have places to rent, houses to rent.
Lodging, yeah, okay.
It's great. But
So you can go up and make a weekend out of it.
Single houses all the way down the road there. So
Okay.
it's beautiful. And they also own something called the Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard. And that's about 2 miles away from the winery.
Okay.
And they have wines using grapes from California, I think. And
okay.
they're delicious.
All right.
Yeah, so really, but it's a beautiful place. They have a restaurant there, and they also have lodging, so you can talk to Kaya about either one.
Very nice. So you have any favorites out in California?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, but it's also people that I know. So
Yeah, that's part of it, of course.
So Napa Valley, there's so many good wineries out
Yeah.
there. The 2 that I take people to every time are Concrete. CONN Creek, and they have something called a barrel blending experience, where they teach you how to make wine, then they give you a little beaker and glasses, and you mix and match until you find something you like, and then you make a bottle and walk out with it.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
And they have barrels.
Sounds like fun.
Barrels on the wall with taps.
Yeah.
So you sit there and you just pour out what you want
Yeah.
and taste it. It's really good.
Maybe make a few bottles for friends, give them away as gifts, and
Yeah,
they'll think
exactly.
you've taken on a new career.
Exactly. So the other thing is they keep your formula on file. So if you ever want to order that wine again,
Oh, really?
that you made, you can do it. And
That's a fun experience.
When we do it, we also get a reserve wine tasting afterwards, and they have wonderful, wonderful wines. The other place we go to, which is very unique, it's called Jarvis. Jarvis Winery is all in a cave. The guy was a billionaire in the telecommunications field, and he came out and dug this great. But they have a ballroom in there. It's amazing.
Leave it to a California billionaire to build a ballroom in a cave with a winery alongside of it.
So they hit a water table when they were building this, and they said, "Oh, let's get a stream through here." Well, it dries up occasionally, so they just have a pump that pumps it back.
Gotcha.
But you walk across the stream into the tasting room. That is everything's in there in the cave.
Wow.
And glass doors, and it's
Is their wine good?
They're delicious. And
Really?
very good, yeah.
Jarvis.
I have people that have joined the wine club. In fact, when I was in El Paso, we had probably, between all the people in the various wineries, we probably had 10 wine clubs that were joined.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So is Jarvis the brand name of the wine, or is it?
That's the winery.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and of course, it's the brand name.
It is the brand name as well.
Yeah,
Exactly. Sometimes the wineries have alternative brands or
Yeah.
whatever else.
But we always do something different. When I go to Napa now, I try to go to an olive oil company that's owned by Native Americans, and they do a tour in there. And I also go to UC Davis, where I went to school, and they have a great big, huge wine facility there. They make their own wines. They sell it, believe it or not. So I'd like to do and I haven't done it yet, a tour of their facility.
Nice.
And and a presentation on
Yeah,
it.
that sounds interesting.
That's kind of the day of relief, they have for Napa Valley. Sonoma, it's different. That's when I go over, like I said, to the coast.
Yeah, it's when
cheese
you
company
do
and
the
all that.
beach and the cheese. Yeah.
So, and then Paso Robles, we went to the beach. Santa Barbara. We went to the beach when we did that. They have beautiful and wonderful Pinot Noirs and Chardonnays, but they have a lot of Grenache and now Cabs, because inland it's warmer, so they can, Pinot Noir is very fussy grape. It likes really cool nights, it loves the fog, and it likes warm days. Not hot days, but warm days. And so you have to get that closer to the coast. And if you take a look at a map that shows where the Pinot plantings are, you'll see it all the way up and down the coast from Santa Barbara all the way up.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's where they've got the conditions. Santa Barbara is a beautiful place.
It is. And then the wine country is actually 45 minutes above the town.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
We'll try to do, on our way up, when we come from LAX, we'll try to stop in at Santa Barbara to a tasting room on the way up so people get a taste of some of the wines.
Yeah, as I mentioned a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I lived in California.
Right.
And I lived in Orange County down south, which is a completely different world than Northern California. Completely different. And this was years and years and years ago. But I made it a point, because I knew I wasn't going to be out there long. I was just out of school and really young in my career. I knew I wouldn't be out there for forever, but wanted to see as much of California as I could. And Santa Barbara, to me, and again, this is a long time ago, so I don't know what it looks like today. It was the most beautiful place I'd ever been in the country. I mean,
really?
it was. I thought Santa Barbara was really, really special. Just a cool place.
It still is.
It still is?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot as we get towards wrapping up here. So if you were going to go buy a red and a white for something special, maybe it's a 50th anniversary, or you're giving away as a gift, give me one red and one white that you would buy today as something really special. Maybe something for the holidays, so give me a red and a white.
Wow, there's so many good ones out there. Let me give you Napa Valley for the red. There's a winery called Dariouche, and they have a beautiful, probably $100, $150 cab, but it's really delicious.
Any specific vintage?
No, not really. I mean, year after year they make good ones. Another winery that makes really good wines is Schaefer. And every year, no matter whether it's a good year or a bad year, they make good wines. And I don't know how they do it, but they do it. A good white, of course, that is very popular is a Chardonnay called Rumbauer. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but very oaky, very popular.
Okay.
It used to be like in the 20s, and now it's like $37, $38.
Of course.
It always goes up like that.
Nowadays, everything's going up in case you haven't checked.
I know. My favorite white, though, is Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
And I really, really like Sauvignon Blanc. Mary Edwards makes a really good one. It's about $40.
Okay.
But usually Sauvignon Blanc's in the 20s. I mean, in the teens to the 20s. And but hers is about $40, and it's worth it. It is really a very special Sauvignon Blanc.
Great. So those are great tips. Kind of heading into the time of year here where we're all trying to celebrate and wind down, and that's great to know.
So let me give you one more.
Oh, you got another one?
Yeah,
okay.
One more.
Absolutely.
It's an $18 bottle, and it tastes like a $35 bottle.
Nice.
And it's called Juggernaut.
All right. Kind of like the name.
Yep.
Kind of cool. Got a little personality.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to the winery actually in
and that's
September.
A white?
Yeah, it's a no, it's a red.
It's a red. Okay.
It's a Cabernet.
Cabernet. All right. Gotcha. All right.
Sorry, should have mentioned.
Well,
that.
Juggernaut kind of sounds like a Cabernet.
Does it?
To me? Yeah. Not a name for a white, but
yeah. Anyway, that's a really good wine. So those are some that I recommend. There's so many good ones. And the other thing is the thing about wine that's totally different from any other drink is there's a million different flavors out there, and that's why wine is unique.
And half the fun is finding the one you like the best.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's a good point. That's
really the fun of getting into that world.
And that's why it's best to go to a lot of tastings. The more tastings you go to, the better chance you have of finding a wine you really enjoy.
Yeah.
And one of the places that has good tastings is Cabernet Steakhouse over here in Alpharetta.
Yeah.
They have wine clubs. They have wine tastings once a month. In fact, they have the holiday tasting coming up this month.
Nice. One Cabernet is, right across the street from our office here.
Yeah. And 40 wines.
Wow.
And it's like $30 a person, I think. If you join the wine clubs, then it's free.
So bring a designated driver or be ready to call Uber, one of the two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. Yeah. That's what I do. Yeah. Yeah. Or else you can drink and spit, but that's no fun.
Yeah, of course. That's not good. All right, so I'm really confident that some of the people that are listening are going to be intrigued by this and maybe want to check into what you do for the tours and whether or not something they want to do moving forward. So how can they get in touch with you?
Well, there's different ways. One, they can look at my website, which is Wine Parties by Design. It's www.allonewordwinepartiesbydesign.com. Okay. And they can call me at 678-231-1048. Okay. Leave a message because I get so many marketing calls.
Oh, yeah.
That, I don't really answer anything I don't know.
Absolutely.
And I think or you can email me at Orson, ORSON, at Wine Parties by Design, again, all one word, .com.
Okay, great. So we got an email, we got a phone number, and we got a website.
Yes.
Is there a contact space on the website where they can click contact me or anything like that?
Absolutely, it is, yeah. And that'll come to me as an email.
Great. And, and that can be for something as maybe as simple and quick as a little in-town event.
Yes.
It could be a North Georgia winery tour, or it could be the big 6, 7 day, 8 day deal out to California.
Right. Let me mention one more thing.
Sure.
I do wine events, private wine events most of the time. And people contact me, and I give them different options for having parties. And one of
private parties in their home, or
yes, exactly,
okay,
or clubhouse,
country
or
club,
whatever.
or something like that. Yeah.
So one of the ones that people really like is where I have 5 or 6 stations. Each station is a different region of the world.
Oh, nice.
And there's a structured format, but people love it every time I do it. They love it.
Pretty interesting.
So I do that. And I also do public ones, too. We do wine and chocolate tastings.
Okay, well, that's going to be a hit every time.
I know. And we have a chocolate maker out of Marietta. He used to be a French chef. His name is Carl Vivier. And he customizes each chocolate for each wine.
Oh, nice.
And people love it. We've had up to 95 people at these events.
Fun. So you can do something local like that. You can do a local wine tour.
Absolutely.
Or you can do the big full package out to California.
California, right.
Awesome.
Right.
So everyone's got your contact information, and of course, as always, you can contact us here at Three Bridges if you lose it or you're not quite sure who you want to contact. But this was fun today. I mean, I learned a little something for sure, which is great. I'm sure that somebody probably is really gonna love what you've said, and probably quite a few people are gonna love what you've said. So many people have a passion for wine. And I think you shared some really cool ideas and some thoughts today. And I think you probably inspired some people to maybe kind of get into that world just a little bit, because the wine world is a world.
Yes, it is.
It really is. And I think it's a great interest that people can maybe take on now that they have a little time and they're not having to work as much and they've got some time to go enjoy what they want to do. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Tom.
And really, really very helpful. And everyone, thanks for listening. I think this was a fun little episode today. And hopefully you heard some things that are going to help you make good things happen. So with that, we're going to wrap it up for the week. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our podcast. It's available on all the major podcast outlets. And of course, all the episodes are also available on our website at 3bfg.com. So thanks for tuning in and look forward to next time. See ya.
Thank you for listening to When Good Things Happen. If you enjoyed today's show, visit whengoodthingshappen.com to share your retirement lifestyle dream, access information about our guests, and sign up for our newsletter. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Three Bridges Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management LLC, AEWM. AEWM and Three Bridges Financial Group are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Three Bridges Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute as tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Three Bridges Financial Group.